it was so construed and taken out of context, and things were left out when it was being when things were being reported, and it created a complete narrative that is absolutely not the case, not true. I had gotten in, I had found myself in some hot water when I was, being stupid and responded to somebody who had created a Finsta, like a fake Instagram, and were sending me, messages, and I had responded, and it got to a certain point, and then I had realized, oh my gosh, like I think this is, not entirely what it seems or what they've presented it as, and I stopped communicating with them because I found out, okay, I think this person's not who this isn't the case. And I stopped communicating. That sent that person into a total tailspin. They ended up, going after my wife and going after, telling me, threatening me, and doing all of these things. And so I had ended up getting in a little bit of trouble because of these text messages. But that's all it was. It was just just some text messages. And well, when you go and you look me up and you see the reports, I mean, it's like I was sending nudes, and I was getting inappropriate pictures, and I was physical with this person at a concert, or that person at a concert, or I did this and that, and none of that was the case. And it was all investigated in my case, through witnesses and for digital forensics. They'd taken my phones and subpoenaed my Instagrams and social media and all that, and everything that was said came up false. Came up. There was no proof of any of that in there, which there would have been. I mean, if there's it's digital forensics. Like if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. You can't even delete. I mean, even if you try to delete it, they're gonna find what they need to find. And then luckily for any of the physical stuff that happened in a concert, I had, so many witnesses that came out that, not even on my side, but on the accuser's side, where they were like, what are you talking? We were there the whole time. This didn't occur. They were never here alone. This didn't occur. And so none of that, moved forward as far as charges or anything. All that could move forward was that, I was stupid and responded to some text messages. And that's what I essentially ended up getting charged with.
Yeah.
But if you go and you read anything, I mean, it wasn't even an assault case. My case wasn't even there was no sexual assault, no assault, no physical anything in any of the charges and any of the what I had to go through. But if you go and look me up, it's like Drake Bell charged with sexual assault. Drake Bell has to register as a sex offender. I'm like, it wasn't even a sex case.
Yeah. And
it wasn't even an assault case. It had nothing to do with that.
And it's frustrating that you can't do anything about fake news. Like there's no way you can retaliate.
No, what am I going to do? Go sue in some publication, and then a few days later they write an article, bashing me, and then at the very end they're like, oh, by the way, we fixed a couple of the things. I mean, nobody reads that. They just read the first headline and then they're done. Yeah. After I was sentenced for what I went through, there were headlines saying that, Drake Bell is going to have to register as a sex offender in California. I mean, this is not. Yeah. It wasn't even a sex case. I hate talking like this, but that wasn't what happened.
Yeah.
And that wasn't why I was there, and that's not why I, and the reason I pled guilty to even the charges that I was charged with was because my attorney looked at me and said, "Look, I'd already spent, so much money on representation and investigation and all this stuff just to defend myself. And they said, well, now look, this is what a trial is going to look like. You're going to go, it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. My wife and I had just had a son. So they're like, your son's going to be sitting behind you watching this happen, and the media is going to twist it any way they want that's going to make it the most clickable as possible. And it's going to be every day. People are going to be watching what's happening every day. And anybody is going to be able to say anything they want on the stand, whether it's true or not. And unfortunately, we see guilty people walk away and innocent people go to jail every day.
Yeah. And
I just looked at them and I was like, what? Well, what's the other option? Said the other option is you take responsibility for this here and what you did here. You take responsibility for that, and we charge you. You'll get, probation, community service, and you won't miss a day in California with your son. And I said, I'll take the one where I don't miss a day in California with my son. And so that's why I pleaded guilty. But now it goes over. Drake Bell pleads guilty. It's like, no, I was presented with 2 options. You would have done the same thing, And then it says pled guilty to sexual assault, and it's like, none of that's true. None of that is remotely true, and unfortunately, it's put a huge stain on everything that I've worked for and everything that I've been doing. And another bummer is I know I'm vague about it, but because I just haven't really found the time or the place or been comfortable enough to discuss really what I've gone through in Hollywood and my story. But being labeled these things that I've been called in these past, couple years, it's really hard. It's really difficult when there are, actual, perpetrators out there that are, doing really bad things and things that have happened to me and now I'm being, labeled I'm being called all these different things, and anybody can just make a TikTok or Instagram post and say, oh, he's this and that, and people believe it immediately. It's so amazing how, depending on how many likes it has, raises the believability of whatever that person's saying when it's completely false. Like for example, I made a joke on my social media and changed my name to Campana. I was just on my social media, I was like, yeah, hey, Trey Campana. And then all of a sudden there were news reports because somebody made a TikTok
That's incredible.
that Drake Bell changed his name, moved to Mexico, became a citizen, is running away from everything that he's going through in the United States. And big newspapers think it's that easy to just become a citizen of Mexico and move here. And what it took me 3 weeks by the time they broke the story and everybody and they take that and then they take what all of these other clickbait things about me and they mush them together. And they're like, oh, that's why he moved to Mexico and changed his name. It's to get away from this and this and this. I'm like, I never moved to Mexico. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I've never changed my name. This isn't what I got in trouble for. This is not what, even during my sentencing, when, this accuser said everything that she said, even the judge said, okay, I don't know what all that was, but that's not why we're here.
This is new material.
Yeah, this is new. This is a litany of allegations that we haven't heard, and I have to bring everybody back to why we're here today, and it's over these few messages.